Hello everyone, my name is Spyron and welcome to this Spider-Man 2000 Any% Easy Speedrun Guide. Now, this guide is going to take place in the PlayStation emulator version of the game, but a lot of the tricks, mechanics and things like that will actually carry across to the other versions of the game, so please do keep that in mind. Now, to begin, we're going to look at setup, and to get you set up, we're going to go through a few things in regards to the PlayStation emulator. So, the emulator of choice amongst most people running this game is Duckstation, mostly just because it's very easy to use and set up, and the game can look as good as you want it to look, basically. Once you've got everything set up in regards to the game, the only setting you're going to need to change within Duckstation is the disk speed. So the disk speed makes sure that you're also on par with the PlayStation 2 version of the game on hardware running in fast disk speed. So to change that, you're going to go to settings and you're going to go to console and you're going to change this read speed up to 3 times or 6 times speed. This will make sure that your load times, again, are equal to that of the PlayStation 2 hardware version. Once you've done that, everything else can stay the same. You can change the graphics if you want to make it look slightly better than just the native resolution and things like that. I have it at 1080p. So once you've done that, you can boot up the game. The next most important part for setup for this game for speedrunning is, of course, the live split timer that you can see on your screen here. Now, if you want to download some fresh splits that are empty and ready to use, please feel free to go to the Spider-Man 2000 section of speedrun.com, go to the resources tab, and you should see some fresh splits ready for you to download there. Once you've got them loaded into Live Split, you can then activate the Auto Splitter. Now, for those who don't know, the Auto Splitter takes away all the work that you need to do in terms of manually splitting each level. This will start when you start a new game. It'll split each individual level once you hit the end of each level, and will then split at the end of the game when you need to. And will also restart, actually, when you restart and quit out of the game. To make sure this is active, you want to go into Edit Splits and make sure you click Active here. And then if you go into settings, if you just copy my settings here, this will be exactly what you need to make sure you can do an Any% Easy run without any hassle. One thing to note about the auto splitter, if you notice that it isn't working when you try to start a new game, is to make sure that you've opened Live Split first and then open Duckstation. If it's still not working, what you need to do is close Duckstation down, open it back up again, and then, as demonstrated here, as soon as you click New Game, it should work, and that's how you know that the Live Splitter is working. Once you've booted up into the game, the first thing you're going to want to do, especially if you wanted to practice specific levels, or if you wanted to change costume from the original, which there are 3 costumes you can use in this category, which I'll explain in a second, is enter the cheat to unlock everything in the game. So to do that, you're going to go to Special, you're going to go to Cheats, and you're going to enter EELNATS, which is EEL space NATS, which you'll notice very cleverly is Stanley backwards. Now, if we click Finish on there, that will unlock everything, which gives us access to all the levels of your choice, as well as the costumes. Now, costumes, like I mentioned earlier, there are 3 that you can use for this category. Those 3 being the Spider-Man costume, the Scarlet Spidey costume, and the Ben Reilly costume. Everything else for this category is banned because of the game powers that they offer. So the 3 of choice here, Scarlet Spidey, Ben Reilly, and regular Spider-Man, don't give you any game powers and are therefore legal for this run. Now, another handy tip I can give you when it comes to practicing this game in the emulator version is the use of save states. Now, for those who don't know, save states are manual saves that you can make during any point in the game. By default, the keys to do this are F1, F2, F3, and F4. F3 and 4 allow you to cycle through previously saved states in the game. F1 allows you to load a state, and F2 allows you to save a state. So, for example, if you're wanting to practice this first level of the game, and you want to practice the swings that you can do on this level to get around this as fast as possible, but you die, unfortunately. Well, if you've made a save state, you can just press F1 to jump back to the point where you've done the save state, and you can practice again. To begin, let's go through the basic mechanics of the game and let's look at the controls to start with. So, to move around, you can either use the D-pad or the analog stick. It is totally up to you and down to your preference. Jump is on X, kick is on circle, punch is on square, and web is on triangle. You want to use R2 to swing. You want to use R1 to zip Spider-Man upwards if there's a roof or something that he can attach himself to above him. You can use L1 for targeting mode, and you can also use L2 to lock onto bosses specifically, but we'll cover that a little bit later, but that's the basics of controls. Also tied into the controls are Spider-Man's web moves, which he has 4 of. First one is up and triangle, which will do a web ball. The second is right and triangle, which does a web dome, which can be cancelled then and exploded by pressing punch or kick. The third is down and triangle, which does a web pull, which if when used on an enemy, it will pull them towards Spider-Man. And then there is left and triangle, which will activate web gloves. Now in the speedrun, realistically, you're only really going to be using the web gloves, web dome, and web ball. For web ball, you can actually just hold down, up, and triangle, and you'll constantly get this spam, which is very useful in some levels. There are many instances in this game where you're going to need to utilize the web dome move, and so to do this in the best way possible so that it pops almost as soon as you activate it, what you want to do is press right on the D-pad, triangle, and circle at the same time. And you can press triangle and circle at the same time, generally by just pressing your thumb on each one. You want to try and hit triangle first, so it kind of wants to be a motion like you can see there. You can see triangle slightly activated first, but if you hold down these 3 buttons, you'll constantly just pop web domes over and over again. So when it comes to combat in the game, you're going to really only be doing one combo in order to deal the most damage possible, which is the kick-kick-punch combo with web gloves on, as demonstrated there. To perform this combo consistently without dropping inputs and without cancelling any of the moves, you want to press kick twice and then spam the punch button as demonstrated there. So I'll do that again. Kick twice and then spam the punch button with that kind of rhythm. You can see there with the controller roughly how that works. If you want to practice this, I'd suggest going to this first level and just kind of practicing getting from one end of the building to the other, purely using combos. It's a good way to practice. One other thing to note with combat in this game is the red triangle that you'll see above enemies' heads. When you see that, that means you're in range and targeting them for either a web move, be it by like a web ball or just a normal web, or a dive kick, which can be performed by jumping and then pressing circle or square when you're targeting an enemy. Now earlier when I said about holding down L2, this applies to bosses only and is really useful for these fights with Venom. So you'll see, what you want to do is hold down L2 and the camera will instantly lock onto Venom. So you know exactly where he reappears during these levels where he does go invisible during both of his fights. And it makes the fights a lot easier. This can be used in all bosses, be it Scorpion, Venom, or anyone else. When it comes to the movement of the speedrun, ideally you want Spider-Man to be doing one of 4 things. Either jumping, double swinging, single swinging, or zipping. Zipping being the fastest option. To perform a zip, what you need to be doing is while pushing forward, just press L2, and if you're close enough to a wall, Spider-Man will just zip to it. And you can also cancel during a zip to make sure you land on the floor before actually sticking to a wall, which obviously is then just a bit faster. You'll also notice that there are 2 types of swinging in there that we talked about. We've got double swinging and single swinging. Single swinging is by far the fastest, and so anytime you can hit a single swing as opposed to a double swing, you will be going much faster, as demonstrated here. So earlier we talked about targeting mode, which is done by holding down L1. This is going to be useful later in the game when we explain some of the actual mechanics of the skips and the tricks that we use on specific levels. But what you may also not know is that by tapping L1, you can actually get Spider-Man to recenter the camera based on the way he is facing. So if you're ever moving around and you see that Spider-Man, if you don't actually give him time to stop and stand still, the camera won't actually move. So if you ever find yourself in a position where you need the camera to move so you can see what you're doing, just tap L1 and the camera moves with you. Let's talk about swing cancelling and the mechanics behind that. So swing cancelling is a mechanic that's built into the game that allows you to move much faster than a regular double swing by cancelling the second part of the swing and immediately swinging again into a single swing. Let me just demonstrate what I mean here. So you see here we do a regular double swing and that's relatively okay, but it's a much slower than actually we would want to be going. You'll see there, did you see how I cancelled the swing mid-air to actually swing faster? So we swing, cancel, swing during the middle of the second animation there, the second half of the animation, just as he's about to do a double swing. You can actually move much faster than just doing 2 swings. Tied into the idea of swing cancelling is this idea that Spider-Man actually does carry momentum when he swings. So let me just demonstrate what I mean. So when you're swing cancelling and swinging between buildings or between floors or whatever it might be, you can actually see that Spider-Man has quite a big range of movement and allows you to change direction or move around in the air quite freely. The problem with this comes when you accidentally stick to a building. So here, you can see I swung to the building, I got stuck. Now, if I want to try and swing and continue swinging to the right-hand side now, over here, what the problem is, if I press X now and push in a direction, you see how it took him a second or so before he actually started moving in that direction. Now, that can be a problem because as soon as you stick to a wall, you kill all momentum that Spider-Man has, which makes it much harder to move as freely as before. This can really kill runs and really kill your speed, so you want to avoid doing this where possible. So this mechanic is probably easiest to see during Venom chase. So you can see here, as we chase Venom, one of the routes you can take is this route around buildings here. So you can see we want to swing cancel our way through, and actually using this freedom of movement, we can swing around buildings like this, to try and keep as far ahead as Venom as possible and keep him pushing forward during this level. If we demonstrate this again now, but stick to a wall, you'll see actually how hard it can be to recover from that position. You can see how stiff Spider-Man is. Stops him from swinging and moving in the positions you want. You lose a lot of height, and obviously you don't want to lose too much height in this game because a lot of this game is based around the idea that you want to stay above the floor because otherwise you'll die. Okay, let's begin with a full run then and demonstrate the entire game. So, to begin a run, you want to go to New Game, and then you want to choose your difficulty, which in this case is going to be easy. Now, time begins as soon as you select your difficulty now. So, once we get into the game, you want to be spamming X to skip these cutscenes because the video cutscenes, the comic covers as well, and the in-game cutscenes like this one can all be skipped if you press X. So you want to do that as fast as possible, just spam X to make sure you get through them quickly. From here, we're going to try and get to the end of the level. That's what the objective of this level is, just to get to the end. And to do that, we're going to swing this way, and obviously you want to be swing cancelling where possible, just to make sure you're moving as fast as you can. We're going to swing over to this building. We're going to swing over to the right just here where there's web cartridges. You can land on the web cartridge just to pick it up. Always useful. Web cartridges are very good to be collecting this game. You don't have to kill this guy. I've just killed him for the sake of the demonstration because I'm going to be stood here while talking. So, we're going to be now swinging in between these buildings here to try and get to the end of the level, which is actually just beyond these buildings here. So we're going to do that by swing cancelling and using our momentum to move around the buildings where possible. Now, you want to land somewhere here. If you are quite good or quite lucky with your swings, you can actually continue swinging past these buildings, skip landing on this building, and swing straight to this orangey brown building just here, and then swing onto this black building, which is the end of the level. The safest way to do this, though, is to land here. You want to then press R2 to zip to this building just behind you, and then before you actually hit the wall, you want to press X to cancel, then maneuver yourself around to the left-hand side of the screen, and then swing to these buildings again, just on your left, so I'll demonstrate that now. There you go, and swing to here. Now, the important thing is, ideally, you want to be as high as possible to swing over these platforms and this building to be able to swing straight to the end of the level, which again is just in front of us. You can land on these platforms if you're going too low, but what you can't do is swing into the side of them. You can't actually stick to this part of the platform on either one of them, either this one I'm stood on or this one in front of me. You want to make sure you land on top of it, otherwise you will fall to your death. So you can do that, and then it's just a simple swing on to the end of the level. Okay then, let's do a demo of this now at full speed. So, swing cancelling where you can. If you want, pick up the web cartridges, always useful. Swing cancelling around to the right hand side. Ignore all the enemies. Bring around, around. Up, cancel around, bring across, and to the end of the level. Now, if you find that strategy too hard of swinging in between those buildings, especially if you're quite new, swing cancelling is still going to take a bit of time to get used to, and the manoeuvring around the buildings isn't the easiest trick in the game, for the first level especially. You can actually take an alternate route, which loses you about 2 seconds, so it's not a massive time loss overall, but obviously it's still slower, so you don't want to use it if you can help it. But let me just demonstrate that now. So instead of going to the right, what you're going to do is swing straight forward up this billboard. You're going to go to this building just in front of you. You can ignore all the enemies. It's not a requirement to kill any of the enemies. Swing across to this part of the building here. Jump around to the right. And then you hit the end of the level just here. Okay, next level is Bank Approach. So again, spamming X to skip the cutscene at the start of this level. There we go. And now the objective of this level is to get to the bank, which is this building just here. Eliminate all the bank robbers on top of the building. And then that takes us nicely into a cutscene that ends the level. So, to do this, we want to swing, cancel swing, and land just here, just beyond this little pylon on the left of us. From there, we want to enter targeting mode, and you want to aim as high as you can here in this middle kind of section of this building. The higher you aim, the better, so you want to try and do this as quickly as possible. So we're going to aim here, press R2 to swing up to it. It should enter this little cutscene. This one can't be skipped.
Jade Syndicate.
And then from here, what we're going to try and do is eliminate all the bank robbers at once. So to do that, we're going to climb up here. We're going to jump to the web cartridge, and then do the insta web dome and web ball this guy, and that should eliminate everyone on the roof. Take us into this cutscene again. You can't skip this, and on to the next level. Okay, so here's an example at full speed. So skip the cutscene, swing, cancel swing, round here, aim up and press, swing over to here, let the cutscene go.
It's the Jade Syndicate.
Pushing up so you climb instantly. Jump into the web cartridge, insta web dome, web ball. Sometimes this guy sometimes still lives, so you just web ball him, that's fine.
The last one. Hope these hostages are still alright.
And down you go. The other important thing to keep in mind is once you see these save game progress screens, you want to press no. Next up is hostage situation, which we're inside the bank for. So to start this level off, you want to push left and spam X so that you land on top of whatever this box thing is here. Welcome to your first skip of the game, by the way. This is going to be your first out of bounds of the game. Hold on, let's get rid of this guy. You don't normally need to kill him, but if you're a bit slow on this trick, you might have to, just so he doesn't interrupt and shoot you. So the way this trick works is you're trying to get out of bounds here, and what I'll do is I'll just do a little save state so we can come back to this section. You want to try and get out of bounds here by doing something like this, and that deloads this level and we can continue on. To perform this trick, what you need to do is, while constantly pushing forward, press and hold down X to jump, and then after a brief pause, quickly then start spamming X to get through and jump over the wall and get yourself out of bounds. You can then drop kick this person here, which gets you on the floor a little bit faster. So the objective of this level is to save all the hostages, and being out of bounds and deloading the level makes it much faster. The first hostage is in this room just here in front of us behind this glass window. So to save him, you need to actually touch him. And because he's on the floor where there's now a void, the best way to do this, if you go into here, press R1 to zip to the roof to make sure you don't die. And he's just about here. You can see 1 of 5 hostages safe. You know you've saved him. That's got him out of the room. You can then drop down here. You want to web ball this person to save the second hostage. And then we're going to swing to this door here. Now, this next bit might be a bit tricky, but essentially what you need to do is swing into this next room and swing in a way that will spawn in both the hostages and the bank robbers. To do this, you're going to want to navigate yourself over to this right-hand side of the door as far right as you can go and swing yourself over to this cubicle here. This will spawn in the people. If you do this wrong and swing maybe too far to the right or to the left, the hostages and the bank robbers don't actually spawn in and you can't complete the level. You've actually soft-locked yourself there. So what you need to do, again, is over to the far right, swing yourself to this cubicle. You can drop kick him again to save the hostages and save some time. Round here, use the zips where you can on the wall and down the elevator. Okay, let's demonstrate this level then on full speed. So holding left and spamming X to make sure you land on top of this little thing here. Jump over and out of bounds. Drop kick this fella down. Find the hostage there. Web ball this fella to save the second hostage. Swing to here. Swing then over here to this cubicle. Drop kick this guy to get the hostages to move. Round the corner, do some zips, and down the elevator. Now, if you struggle to do the swing, where you swing from here now diagonally to the cubicle, what you can actually do is enter targeting mode and aim about here, and that will actually do the same thing for you. And it'll swing you to here. You can then swing on and get to the end of the level that way. To stop the bomb, the first tip I can offer you is if you push forward and hold down the right trigger as the cutscene starts, you can actually perform a zip then straight away as soon as that cutscene ends, and it gets you down this corridor a little bit faster. Next up, we're going to try and get to this little vent that's just above us there. You can see at the top left. And the fastest way to do that is just to swing. You can ignore all the bank robbers, do some zips, do some zip upwards to get there a bit faster, zip along the vent itself, and then zip to this door here. Now, casually, you would need to defeat all the bank robbers to open this door, but actually what we're going to do here is utilize the next skip in the game, which involves us zipping through this door. And to do this, what you need to do is if you run at this door and kind of have Spider-Man facing diagonally, this lighter section of the wall that you can see in front of you. If you run at this and then press the swing button, Spider-Man will actually zip to the wall, but it'll zip him on the other side of the door and very handily zip you through it, ignoring the door completely. And what this also does is it opens this bank vault here, which will be useful to throw the bomb in, which we're going to do in just a second. Now, what's going to happen in this next section, if you run forward very slightly, it'll trigger a cutscene. You can just spam X to get through that. And what you're wanting to do is jump forward, land on one of the cartridges. That's kind of the best landing spot with the second cartridge that you'll see in a second. And then you want to hit the green button. So let me demonstrate that now. In place, skip through that, land here, green button. Now, what you want to do here is you can skip this cutscene that's playing now. You want to spam X to skip this. If you've done this fast enough, what you can actually do now is jump forward and do a dive kick onto the two bank robbers that are stood just behind the door that you've just opened. What that'll do is it'll knock them both down, and then you can hold down up and triangle to do web balls and hit them all and defeat them all very, very quickly, which is the next part of what you need to do. So if we do that now, jump, dive kick, web ball, web ball, web ball, and that should target them all and defeat them all. Now, you can do this quickly, and the bomb will then still be stationary and won't be able to be picked up, which will then give you time to run over to it. Once the timer starts, hold on if I run over here, once the timer starts, this is when the bomb can now be picked up. To pick up the bomb, you're going to want to hit the punch button, which is a square in my case. You're going to want to pick up the bomb, and we're going to now try and get it to the bank vault that was open, that we saw like the gold and things inside, just on the other side of this door behind us. You can do this in 3 throws if you don't mess it up, which I'll demonstrate now. So you want to pick it up, turn around immediately, and throw. Jump over to it, pick it up again, and then immediately throw. Jump over to it again, pick it up, and immediately walk forward a little bit and throw, and then turn and hit this button just here on the left. That will close the bank door, even though it doesn't play the animation. And that's the end of the level. So let me demonstrate this now at full speed. So again, zipping straight down, you can do a cancel there to get down there a little bit faster. Swinging over to the vent, upwards, cross, down, over here. Walk to this corner, zip through. Cutscene plays, we skip that. We jump to the web cartridge, press the button. Skip, jump, dive kick. Web balls there. Jump over to this bomb. As soon as the timer starts, pick it up. Press backwards to turn around. Jump over, make sure you're not going to throw it straight into the wall, so you can adjust a little bit when you jump there. Turn around, throw it straight in, and press the button. 142 is a very good time. If you can do it really fast, you want to aim for the 140 section. And that's the level. Race to the Bugle is just a lot of swinging. Initially, you just want to be pressing X to skip all these cutscenes. And then the level starts. You're going to swing over to this first building. Little tip for this next swing, to keep going here, where this bit of fencing or whatever this metal kind of grating is here on the left-hand side, if you run forward to about the point where it starts bending to the left, what you can actually do is just hold down forward, and as long as you swing cancelling, Spider-Man will just swing perfectly to this next building here. You want to then kind of aim to swing to the edge of this building here, so that you land roughly here, or if you don't land here, you want to make sure that you jump across then to this bit of kind of the ledging here. We're going to then jump over here and swing to this bit of the building here, and you want to land just roughly before, or kind of just next to this little thing. I don't even know what this is, honestly. Whatever this is on your left-hand side here that Spider-Man's arm's touching. This next bit gets a bit tricky. This is where, if you've practiced any of your swing cancelling or any of your momentum swinging in this game, this is where it's going to pay off, because it involves a lot of that next. What we're essentially going to do is swing first initially to a bit of this building here, the end of this building just behind this bit of wall, then immediately turn left and swing to this building, and then try and swing onwards, because the Daily Bugle is literally just over here. You can't see it because the render distance hasn't kicked in, but it's just over here. So let me demonstrate this very quickly and kind of explain what I'm doing as we swing. So we're going to jump around here, swing, cancel, swing over to here, swing cancelling all the time. Use your momentum to kind of worm your way around the building, and then what you did there is, as soon as you get to basically touching that wall of this building, you can then press the right bumper, or R1, to do the zip upwards, because there's a bit of a ledge here that Spider-Man can actually zip up to. What you can actually do is, if you zip upwards here, so let's demonstrate from here, you zip upwards, you can actually then cancel and turn, swing over to this building, and then again cancel, and so you press X to drop there, and then press the right bumper again to zip up. So let me just demonstrate that again. So as long as you're high enough, you can then cancel and immediately press the right bumper to zip straight upwards. This will get you to here. You can ignore this fella here, and you can swing then straight to the Daily Bugle. Don't worry if he shoots you, it doesn't matter. Okay, let me demonstrate that again now at full speed for you all. Here we go, cancelling all the cutscenes, skipping all the cutscenes by spamming X. Over here, forward, swing cancelling. Again, you shouldn't need to move. Might do a zip there, that'd be nice. Bit of extra speed. Sometimes that happens, you can't really ever guarantee those, but when it does happen, it's very nice. Again, making sure you're on this ledging here to make sure you can jump over to here. Land about here, jump around, swing, cancel, swing over to here. Once you get close to the edge, you can then swing, cancel to this other building, zip up, cancel. You don't have to touch that building, I just touched the building. Over to here, ignore that fella, and straight over to the Daily Bugle. Welcome to your very first boss fight of the game. This is Scorpion. Now, you want to spam X as per usual here to skip all the cutscenes, and then the level starts. Right. The basic mechanics behind this fight are that we're going to perform 4 kick-kick-punch combos with web gloves on for maximum damage, and that will finish Scorpion off. We can do this in what's known as a 1 cycle, which is where we finish Scorpion off in this room that we're in right now. Unfortunately, J. Jonah Jameson can be a bit tricky, and if you either perform this combo or finish Scorpion off too slowly, or if he just decides to be really mean, J. Jonah Jameson will run into either this room or this room, which will then trigger a cutscene that can't be skipped, and you have to waste time watching the cutscene and then finish Scorpion off in the second room, which would be a 2 cycle. So we want to ideally do it in 1 cycle. That's the fastest way. So if I just restart the level and explain what we need to do as soon as the level starts. So as soon as the level starts, what you want to do is jump over to behind Scorpion, put your web gloves on, and then holding L2, start the combo. Obviously L2 to lock on, we talked about that in the mechanics section. Now, when you perform a combo, Scorpion will immediately try to retaliate and attack you back. In order to dodge this attack, you want to run at Scorpion not straight on, but slightly left or slightly right of him. This will just make sure then that he doesn't hit you. If you do run straight on, that can work, but there's just a higher chance of him hitting you and knocking you to the floor, which will slow you down and gives Jameson more time to run through one of the doors, which we don't want to do. Now, we're trying to push Scorpion, because you can see when we did the uppercut, it kind of pushes him back. We're trying to push him towards kind of the center of the room / one of the doors, just so that then if Jameson does run into Scorpion, what happens is he plays a little animation and he does a little kind of like, oh, scared thing, where he'll stand still then and stop running. It gives you more time to finish the combo. So, you run slightly to the left of him or the right of him each time, to dodge the little tail move, and that's the combo. And there's, you can see the little scared animation that stops Jameson from running. Doesn't matter if the cutscene plays after you beat him, because that's the end of the fight. Police Chopper Chase is another swinging level, essentially, and all of these levels coming up basically are just a lot of swinging levels. So the objective basically you're just trying to do is just get to the end of the level as fast as possible. The route you take is up to you. Obviously, the best you can stick to going forward, the better, and the less kind of awkward paths that you take, the better. A lot of swing cancelling, a lot of swinging. Again, not really much to explain for this level. It's very straightforward. You're just trying to get to the end, which is this building just here. For missile attack, it's really straightforward. The objective is just to get to the top of this building here by climbing up. Now, the secret is that you won't know playing this casually, is that there are actually certain heights that once you reach that height, you can actually just zip straight upwards by pressing X first of all to unstick from the wall, and then pressing immediately afterwards R1 or right bumper to then zip straight upwards as you're about to fall off the wall, essentially. So you can basically, it's similar to when we did Race to the Bugle, exact same thing, just press X and R1 at the same time, basically, to zip upwards. So for this, just memorize where I say it's here to zip upwards, and it's dead simple from there. The other thing to note as well, I'll get to this in a second. So the first point is just here. Now, the other thing to note is, once you start zipping upwards, you basically want to immediately start pointing or pressing the down button on the D-pad or down on the analog stick, whichever one you're using, because Spider-Man, the way he climbs is a bit awkward. So you want to, by pressing down, you'll actually climb upwards. So just a quick tip there. So you want to be pressing down to climb up and jump on the wall here. Next bit is just as you hit these next bit of cardboard barricades there, and again down to go up. As confusing as that is. Now this bit you want to wait for the sniper to start shooting your spiders to go off, and you want to just dodge to the right, basically, as they start shooting. And the next point is just when you hit that bit of solid brick there. And then from here, you can actually just walk forward a little bit and zip straight upwards. And that's this level. Building top chase again, just another level where it's a lot of swinging, basically. So you just follow roughly the route that I'm taking here. I'm going to go down here, to the edge of here. I'm going to swing, cancel our way around this building and try and land on this bit of construction here. We're going to then swing across over here. You want to try and zip to this bit of billboard, whatever that is there, and then zip to the wall. And kind of center yourself a little bit here. You want to swing over here. You can actually swing through, I didn't quite do it there, but you can actually swing through those yellow windows before they get destroyed. So don't worry about waiting for those. And then you're wanting to kind of angle yourself, so, oh gosh, we went very high then. So you kind of swing to here. If you get a bit stuck, you can always climb up, but if you swing cancel yourself around, you can actually just swing straight to this building. Scale the girders starts off very similar to missile attack, in which once you reach a certain height, you can just zip up, which is the middle of this kind of metally section here. Now, at this point, you've got two options. One being the default option, and two being the new skip that we found not too long ago that we call the flying spider, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate to you the first trick. The default way to do this level requires you to run over to the right, jump, and hold down R1 so that you zip up here. You want to then climb yourself to the other side, drop and press R1 again to zip up to this metal sheet here, and then drop and press R2 this time to zip to that little bit of metal on the construction site here. From here, you want to jump and press R1 again to zip up to the top of the crane, and then you kind of want to keep doing that to shimmy yourself across to the end of the crane here, and then from here, you're going to try and swing to this, I don't even know what this is, this block of something? I don't know. Whatever this is over here, you're going to swing to that. One single swing and then cancel. And then you want to make sure you're holding down R2 to swing at the end of that. If you don't swing at the end of that, you will just fall to your death. But that actually skips a cutscene that normally plays when you land on top of that box thing. Now, for the flying spider trick, I guess let me try and explain the concept of the trick because we use it elsewhere in the run. This is the first instance of it. The concept of the trick was discovered not too long ago, a couple of months ago, if that. And essentially, when Spider-Man's stuck on a wall, if you enter targeting mode and aim somewhere above you and to the left or right of you, if you've done it correctly and if there's enough distance, when you then swing to that position or zip to that position that you've aimed at, it'll sometimes do an awkward like swing in the middle of the zip as opposed to just zipping up or swinging straight up. And during this awkward swing, which will make much more sense when you see it, you can actually just press X or the jump button to make Spider-Man just start defying gravity, essentially is the best way to explain it. And he just starts flying and it's really strange. So let me try and demonstrate that for you now. So to perform this trick, what you need to do is if you come over to here, the other side of the construction site, attach yourself to the bottom of this block, climb to the other side and then stop. You want to aim roughly central to this meshy bit of the crane that's just above you. And you want to press now and hold the swing button. When you press and hold the swing button, you'll start to zip up to that position, but then we'll do the awkward swing. As soon as you see the awkward swing, press X, and you'll start flying. At that point, you need to then, you're trying to get to the end of the level trigger, which is on your left-hand side, so you're going to need to go down and left, essentially, like so. There's the awkward swing, you press X, go down and along, and that's the end of the level. Very strange. Police Evaded is the final level of these outsidey police chase levels. Again, spamming X to skip the cutscene. You're going to swing over here to this crane over here, and you want to use then the zip upwards kind of method to wiggle your way to the front, and then swing onwards over to here. You want to then jump on top of this little section here, and you're going to use the swing cancelling to swing yourself around these buildings to get to this construction site here. You're then going to want to swing over to this building, over to this block, over to this crane, and to the end of the level. Alright, and it's Rhino up next. Rhino is our next boss fight of the game. So again, spamming X to skip all the cutscenes. This one won't skip until Stanley says out, and then it will skip. Now, at this point, you're going to try and use what's known as the infinite web dome strat. So if you paid attention during the mechanics section of this guide, you'll know about the infinite web dome strat. There are technically other ways you can defeat Rhino in here, but this is by far the fastest and easiest, I would say. Now, to defeat Rhino using the infinite web dome strat, you have to, obviously, if you paid attention, right, triangle, and circle. That's how you do the infinite web domes, and you just keep those held down. Now, the easiest way to say this, and this comes across as quite an interesting sentence, the deeper you are inside of Rhino, the more damage you will deal, okay? And you can take that however you like. Now, what we need to do is, when we start this level, we're going to jump, dive kick, and walk slightly into Rhino so that we kind of phase inside him slightly. And at that point, we start doing the web domes. Sometimes, if you walk too far inside of him, it will push him away, but that's fine because he'll just keep trying to punch you, keep charging at you, and it's all fine. Essentially, the setup is as follows. We're going to jump, dive kick, walk into him, and then web dome here. So there you go. You can see he's just punching away. He can't actually hit you. Sometimes he can hit you, but it's fine. Just keep doing the web domes. Keep going, and Rhino's down. And that's the boss fight. It's as easy as that. Don't get any easier. Now, everyone's favourite character, it's Venom. And we're going to spend a lot of time with Venom now over these next couple of levels. So, this first level involves us chasing Venom. So, you'll notice at the top of the screen, there's a bar that appears. Basically, Spider-Man needs to stay within close range of Venom. Otherwise, we lose Venom and the level ends and you have to restart the level. The thing to keep in mind with this is not necessarily that you need to stay close to him, but just that you need to keep him pushing forward to get to the midway point of this level, which is a little construction site, and then you jump into a building and a little cutscene plays that you can't skip. So there's a couple of ways you can get to that point. And still stay in range of Venom, even though you're going much faster than he is. And in an ideal world, you want to beat Venom to this construction site so that you can do this bit as fast as possible, essentially. My route that I take is as follows. I jump down to the right here, and I'm basically swing cancelling in between all these buildings here. Going across left and right. Keeping pushing forward, also staying within range. Swing to about here, because if you keep swinging, you'll lose him. At this point, targeting mode to aim up to here, to then spin and turn into this, and be careful because sometimes you slip off there. Pick up the Spidey armor, because that's always useful. You want to get to this point. Now, this is where it gets important, and again, if you want to take a different route during this level, feel free to, just as long as you make sure Venom's pushing forward and you get to this part of the game, this part of the level, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. That's just my preferred method. I think it's quite fast, so I do that. Right. Once you get into the construction site, there's two triggers that you need to hit in order to keep Venom going and pushing. Like we say, we're pushing him through this level, essentially. The first is that, you see, did you hear that voice line then? That voice line plays, essentially, when you stand or run past this little bit that we're stood on here, this kind of metal, as you can see when I quickly unpause it there, bit of metal bit of the construction site here. As soon as you hear that voice line, you can run to the other section over here, which is the next trigger. There you go, you hear the other voice line, and you can see Venom's already starting to chase us still. Technically, we'd be chasing him, but in this instance, he's chasing us just because we're fast. Stand here, and then basically, as soon as he jumps towards you, you want to do 2 jumps over to here, and this cutscene will play. Now, it is possible, if you do this too fast, and you try and jump straight into this cutscene before Venom can get too close to you, this will soft lock the level, okay? And you won't actually be able to complete the level because you'll go up here, and even though there'll be a Venom in the cutscene that's playing, there'll also be a second Venom still sat in the construction site, and that Venom is what's tied to the meter at the top. So as soon as you start then swinging towards the end of the level, following the second Venom, the fake Venom, real Venom who's sat there still at the construction site will just stay there, and as soon as you get out of his range, the level ends and you've lost it, basically. You've got to start again. So it's not necessarily a soft lock, but you've basically soft locked yourself out of finishing the level, if that makes sense. So, you want to make sure that he's still quite close to you when you perform those 2 jumps or the swing or however you want to get to the trigger then, which is that part of the construction site to jump then automatically into this cutscene. We'll let this cutscene play.
Get out of my way, nerd! Watch that first step, Parker. It's a doozy.
Oh, toe, ow!
So what's essentially going to happen now is at the end of this cutscene, we're just going to bolt it basically as fast as we can towards the end of the game now. Venom you shouldn't really lose Venom. There is a way you can lose Venom, but you have to be too fast, essentially. And like the others, that's not going to happen. So you want to jump immediately left, over to here, swing to this bit of the building over here, swing down here. You want to keep going towards this kind of left-hand side over here, for this building. And now this is where it's going to get a bit tricky because it requires a bit of swing cancelling to do this level fast. You want to swing to here, over to this building here, over to this building. You're trying to maintain your height as high as you can, over to this bit here, and then climb up and enter this cutscene. And if you're really fast, you won't see Venom at all during this section. And it's quite funny because Spider-Man talks to no one and just ends the level. Next, it's time to fight Venom. So this is the first Venom fight of 2 that you'll do. And there's a couple of things I need to explain before we get into this level. So first of all, you want to skip the cutscene immediately, and you're going to want to collect that web cartridge that's just off to your left. You can see there as I've paused. Now, at this point in the game, it's going to be quite important to try and collect as many web cartridges as you can, as strategically as you can. Now, you'll see I have 9 web cartridges. That's only because I'm doing this tutorial and guide segmentedly, so I'm loading the individual levels. If you were doing a proper full run, your web cartridges would carry over after each level. So if you had 4 leaving a level, you'd start the next level with 4, if that makes sense. So with that in mind, because if you've done the Rhino web dome strategy, at this point, you're not going to have as many as 9 web cartridges, and you're going to need to try and keep that as high as possible for levels later in the game, okay? So at this point, you're going to want to try and collect as many web cartridges as strategically as possible without slowing you down or taking you too far off route, okay? So the first one you can collect straight away is that one just on your left here, and there's another one at the end of this level as well that I'll show you. When it comes to the Venom fight, the L2 button comes into play here massively. So the mechanics of the Venom fight is that he will turn invisible and then reappear, and then that's when you can attack him when he reappears after being invisible, okay? And you want to hit him with the web gloves, kick, punch combo that we're always going to use on every boss fight, okay? Apart from Mysterio, but that's a different fight altogether. So, the L2 button, because it locks onto bosses, when he goes invisible, it's random as to where he's going to spawn then in this kind of little arena, in this back alley or wherever we are at the minute. By holding down L2, you will instantly lock onto Venom the frame that he appears again after being invisible, which makes it much easier to then instantly just run over to him and hit him with the combo, okay? Otherwise, if you're not doing that, you're going to be stood there, not really know where Venom is, you're going to have to turn around a little bit and try and find him quickly. L2 just eliminates all of that, and that's exclusive to the PlayStation version, so thank you, PlayStation, for putting that in. So, let's have a quick go at this, shall we? So, collect this web cartridge over here, put your web gloves on, and sit somewhere central, holding down L2. They'll spawn in, there we go. Kick, punch. Brilliant, back to central. There he is again. Kick, punch. Wait for him in the middle again, holding down L2. Kick, punch, and he's gone. That should only take 3. Then you want to just blast this with a web ball to get the web cartridge in there. This next level takes us into the sewers, and we're going to be spending a fair bit of time in the sewers now. So skip this cutscene. You can use some zips here to skip along this wall, and you're going to basically want to jump along this path to be moving as fast as possible. Ignore the lizards. And keep jumping, till you get to these pipes. Right, now, so the pipes can be quite dangerous because if we fall too low now, we will die, okay? So there's a couple of ways you can traverse these pipes and get to the end of this level. I'm going to show you 2 different ways. The first method involves us going over the top of the pipes. So what you want to do is essentially aim for these white bits of the pipes at the end. This will make sure that you're not crawling generally most of the time, and that you can actually stand on top of the pipes for speed and take yourself right to the end of this bit here. Now, if you want to do this the faster way, but also the more risky way, what we want to do is come back to here, and we're going to jump on this first one, but then we're going to go jump and go underneath, okay? And this, you want to, again, try and aim for the lowest bits of the pipes to try and keep yourself able to swing forward, okay? And you can do that, you can land there and keep going. Now, skip this cutscene, jump to about here, and then it's just a case of holding down up and triangle to spam web balls. You'll finish off all these lizards, and then you can go into targeting mode if you like and do this, and it makes the cutscene look a little funny. That's not required, but it's just cool. And this is just an unskippable cutscene that takes you to the end of this level. This next level, Sewer Cavern, also involves some swinging, some more dangerous swinging. So what we're going to do is, we can't cancel that cutscene. We're going to swing over to these pipes here, to this second pipe then here, and you're going to walk or swing along the end of this little section here to about where you can see the shadow is here, and there's like a little connecting point in the pipes. Now, casually, it tells you here to go into targeting mode and use this to swing around. Because we're professionals, we're not going to do that, and what we're going to try and do is swing cancel our way all around these pipes to the end of the level. As so, I'm going to swing cancel, swing cancel, swing cancel, swing cancel, turn over here, swing cancel, around, swing cancel, and swing, and you're at the end, okay? Easy as that. You can also drop kick the lizards if you want to get a bit of speed. If they're a good enough distance away, you want to just jump down this corridor and onto the subway. Everyone's favourite level. Everyone's favourite level, Subway, is potentially the easiest level in the game, just because of how it works. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen there's a train track, and this is essentially a glorified auto-scroller, okay, where the train just has to reach the end of the track, and that's the end of the level. Now, as this happens casually, what you would be doing is lizards spawn and drop onto the train, and Spider-Man fights them off until you reach the end and just keeps fighting them off, and they just spawn infinitely, okay? Well, actually, what you can do, and there's two methods of doing this, you can get yourself in a position so that only 3 lizards ever spawn. They stay on this train until right towards the end, and then there's an extra special method that we can use to end the train actually slightly early before it even gets to the end of the track visually on this screen, okay? So I'm going to show you method 1 and then method 2. Method 1 we call Hug the Homies, okay? And this essentially involves, if you kind of stand on this middle platform here, wait for a lizard to come, and then if you press triangle and circle at the same time, you can grab, and basically you're just going to repeat that all the way through this level. Just keep grabbing, the lizards won't attack you at any point, and they just watch you grab. As soon as it kicks you out of the grab, just grab again, and you just do this endlessly. You want to be stood kind of central to the train, because the web cartridges that come on this level, that spawn on this level, will come down the center of the train, okay? So you want to be stood central so that you still pick up all the web cartridges that are coming. See, though, there you go. So we picked one up there. Also to note, if you do the Hug the Homie strat, you will push yourself backwards very slightly. So just keep an eye on that. So you can see it takes a slight step backwards. You want to kind of make sure that you're not being pushed backwards too far enough that you're going to fall off the train, okay? If we called method 1 Hug the Homies, I guess we'd call method 2 Inside the Homies, and you can take that as you like. Again, that's fine. This strat essentially is my favourite and preferred way of the two, just because once you get in the setup for it, you can literally put your controller down, get up, go for a walk, get some water, whatever you like, and not have to come back until the end of the mission, basically, which is very good, and saves you a lot of button ache and finger ache and whatever else. So, the setup for this one is, when you start, you want to walk straight forward, basically, and get yourself onto this part of the train where it slightly ramps up before the flat part of the second carriage here. Once you're here, you just want to start jumping. And as soon as the lizard, you can see, turns all the way to the left there, that's it, you're locked in. And you can just kind of face this wall, and that's it, you're locked in. And these two lizards will just stare at you. This lizard will start whacking you, and sometimes he'll hit you, sometimes he won't. Just keep an eye on your health at this point, and you can just ride the entire train out. Now, I'll fast forward this next little bit, and we'll come back now towards the end, where we can do a special little method to try and end the train a bit earlier. What we're going to do now is attempt something known as Super Train, and Super Train essentially is ending this level before intended, and the intended way is just to wait for it to get to the end of the track, okay? But there is a way to end this level actually earlier than intended, which involves the following. So, once you're about just over 3/4 of the way towards the end of this level, you want to, let's say, in a second, now you want to start running to the top of the train here, turn around, and then start firing web balls down the track. What this will do is it'll start killing all the lizards as they spawn in. The more central you are, the better. Sometimes this guy will spawn right next to you. It's a bit annoying. More central, the better. But at a certain point, you can see the lizards have just stopped spawning, and the level's just going to end. And you can see there was still track left for the train to travel on. But that's it. And then skip this cutscene, of course. Sewage Plant starts basically the madness, okay? And at this point is where all the skips are going to come into play. There's pretty much a skip on almost every level now coming up, right up and towards the end of the game. So this is where runs can really like be made or broken. So the first one, Sewage Plant. We're going to jump over these lizards, swing all the way to... Oh, don't get caught on that. To the end here. You can use zips or you can swing as you like. Like that web cartridge, always good. And now what you want to do is swing all the way to the end here. And you want to kind of land roughly on your right-hand side here. Now, the trick here is that normally, if you were doing no skips, or if you're playing this casually, you would go up where you are now, hit some switches, unlock this gate, and then that's when you'd go and finish the level. We're not going to do any of that, and we're going to skip right through this gate. The first method and the easiest way of doing this is... once you're along this wall, enter targeting mode, and what you can do is, you see how when you aim in the gap here, you can see how it drops a little bit, just behind the gate. That's how you know that when you're in that position, once you're in the kind of area just between the gate, you can press the swing button and you'll actually just zip straight through, because he's made of paper, of course. Press triangle to hit the button, crawl down, wait for this to drain, drop on the floor, walk forward, and then press the swing button to do a zip, and you'll end the level that way. The second method doesn't require you to enter targeting mode at all, but is a bit more finicky. Targeting mode is always the safer option, I'd say. But if you're feeling lucky and if you feel like you can do this, you can actually do very similarly to what we did on the bomb skip, where we skipped through the door, where when Spider-Man's head is central to the gap in the wall, you can actually just zip through it, just like that. Roll down here, watch out for the water, zip along. Again, don't touch the water before it's fully drained, because it will kill you instantly. Hidden switches, I think, is the fastest level in the game, if you do it right. So with this level, there are a couple of different methods. I'm just going to show you one. If you want to see more, come join us in the Discord, the Spider-Man Speedrunning Discord. That'll be in the description. Come join us and we'll show you all the other ways of doing this as well. But this is the best way, I think, the most consistent way, and the least scary way as well of doing it. There are some scary methods to get through this. So, we're going to swing over to this right-hand side, get to here, and then at this point what we're going to do is the following. We're going to zip upwards using the right bumper, or R1. We're going to zip upwards. We're going to drop so that we're stuck to the wall in front of us, but as high as we can. And then what we're going to do is, while pushing forward on either the D-pad or the analog stick, we are going to alternate between right trigger and X, or web and jump, web swing and jump as fast as you can, okay? What that should do is push you through the wall, and as long as you're pushing forward, you'll fall then into the loading zone, okay, for the next level. Let me kind of demonstrate what I mean. So zip up against the wall, spam, 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 spam you through, and fall and push forward. And that's the end of that level. Oh boy, we've hit Tunnel Crawl. Okay, so let's talk about some stuff before we get into Tunnel Crawl. Tunnel Crawl is probably the biggest run killer in the game, just because of the strategy that we use to get through this level as fast as possible, okay? It's a bit tricky, the timing is quite reckless and tight, but if you can master this, you're in for a good run, okay? So, what we're going to do is make our way over here. We can use the zips to get over here to the tunnel, okay? The dreaded tunnel. Now, this is where it gets dangerous. In a second, the water will lower, and at that point is when we can start moving as Spider-Man. We don't want to obviously crawl into the water or touch the water at any point, because that will kill us and send us back to the beginning of the level. What we want to do, or what you would do casually, I should say, is normally you would crawl all along this path until you get to a bit where the tunnel raises back up again. You'd wait in the raised area of the tunnel for the water to rise and fall again, and then you would crawl to the end of this section and the end of this tunnel. What we want to do if we're speedrunning this game is try and do it in one cycle, okay? And to do it in one cycle, we're going to use something called roof zipping, okay? And roof zipping is very tricky because essentially it requires you... I'll demonstrate it now, and then we'll come back and we'll do the level in full, okay? Let me demonstrate. So, in order, you're going to press X, right trigger, and then right bumper, because you're going to drop from the ceiling, try and hit a zip. If you fail the zip, you want to press RB as quickly as possible to zip yourself back up to not fall in the water. You can see those zips that we did there that actually get Spider-Man along this tunnel a lot faster than you would casually, okay? By just crawling. Again, we'll do it again. You can see alternating between these. Now, if you don't do it fast enough, that's what will happen. The water will rise and you'll die and you'll have to start the entire level again, okay? What we want to be doing is doing it fast enough so that we can get through this level as fast as possible. The minimum amount of zips that you need is 2, okay? 1 in the first section and 1 in the second section. You get to about here, do some more. There's 1. So we did 1 at the start, 1 at the beginning. You do all those ones in the middle as well. And at minimum, that should get you across to safety, which is just above that kind of shaded line you can see in the back here. As long as you pass that line, you are safe, okay? So you can do it with just 2 zips and all the zips in the middle. But if you want to go faster, obviously you want to get as many zips in as possible. So, once you've got to here, do targeting mode to aim up here and get to the end of this tunnel. Now, you can do one of 2 things at this point. You can choose to do this level casually, which goes like the following. You swing to the end here. You can do a little zip to get down this corridor a little bit faster and hit the button. Wait for this cutscene to finish.
Coming through.
Jump over here. You're going to do 2 swings to this right-hand side, fall, and be spamming the dropkick button to dropkick that lizard to get you in the right spot. Hit that button, that switch, and then swing to the end of the level, okay? That's method 1, and that is the casual method, but it is slower than what I'm about to show you now, but it's less tricky. Method 2 is tunnel crawl skip. And there's a couple of different ways to do tunnel crawl skip. I'm going to show you one method. If you want to see an alternative method, please go and visit my other YouTube video where I demonstrate how to do this method, where you go underwater and under the ground, out of bounds, and swing to the end. You can go check that out. I'm going to show you the flying spider variation of tunnel crawl skip, okay? So to do that, we're going to go over here, and we're going to line ourselves up with, you see this bit of wall here, where it looks like there's a block. You want to line yourself up with the kind of bottom corner you can see here of the level. Now, we're going to do the flying spider trick now that we did in Scale the Girders, but we're going to use it to go up and over the map and then straight down through the floor to be able to get to the end of level trigger, okay? I'll try and explain this the best as I can as we go along, but my best advice to you would be just watch what I do, go away, and then just try and practice it yourself, because this will just take a bit of practice to nail, okay? So the setup, once you're in this position here, you want to aim at the center of this kind of cross, of where the black cross is on the lights here. Press and hold, and then as soon as he does the awkward swing, you press X. Push yourself against this wall, and then as soon as you're over the wall, go down and hold down the swing button once you're past the bit of floor, the first bit of flooring, and then immediately, as soon as he finds the swing, you'll zip straight to that end of level trigger just there. Again, that's not very well explained, I feel like, but it's very hard to explain. You just kind of you've got to just go and practice it. That's all I'd say. So we haven't done this in a little while, but let me demonstrate this level in full now at full speed. So zipping along here, using the roof zips. As soon as the water starts going down, we can start roof zipping. As fast or as slow as you like. Remember, we need at least 1 zip in each lower section and all the zips in the top section to get to the end. Once you're about halfway here is when you can start doing the zips again.
Gotta keep moving.
There we go. That's zips. That was very fast. That was really good. Get to here. Aim. And zip yourself up here. Let's go do the flying spider now. Where we're going to swing over to here. Over to this left-hand side. Line ourselves up. Careful not to fall in the water. Aim at this cross-section here. Flying spider. Up. Over, down, and swing to the end. Venom's puzzle can be done in one of 2 ways. The first way I'll show you now. The second way I call Spyron's puzzle, because I do it all the time and it's very fast. Skip this cutscene, turn around, zip along this wall, skip this cutscene, swing down to this button here. What you're going to do now is utilize something called double button pressing, where we're going to shoot a web ball down to this button just in front of us, turn around, and then web the button behind us before the web ball hits this button here. So as such, web ball, turn around, boom, and that opens all the doors at once. Once you've done that, you want to jump and zip up to the roof, and then you just want to make your way fast as you can to the end of the level.
Come back!
Method 2, or Spyron's puzzle, as I like to call it, is a little tricky. This one, again, is one you just have to go away and practice. But it's very fast. So, another thing Spider-Man can do is, if the setting is right, and if the flooring is right, more importantly, Spider-Man can actually just fall through the floor, okay? And we're going to use that now to get through, and underneath these doors now that have closed, instead of pressing the buttons, we're going to zip cancel basically all the way along this little platform underground, get to the end. So, to do that, you want to run it essentially this way, so you're running against the kind of the wall in front of you here. You don't want to run it this way, you want to run it this way, like sideways on. What you need to do then is tap the D-pad and shuffle until Spider-Man is roughly halfway, so you can see where his shadow is on the bottom of his model there. You want to keep shuffling basically until he should fall through there. And then at that point, you just zip cancelling all the way along and get to the end that way. Very, very fast. The Lizard's Maze is another one where there's some water and you can do some roof zips. So feel free to use roof zips as much as you want, but basically we're trying to get through this level as fast as we can. There we go, get some roof zips. Obviously, you don't have to do the roof zips, you can just crawl. If you're quite good at doing the roof zips, feel free to, because it's obviously faster. Use the walls to zip along. Keep going straight forward here until you hit this dead end where it says warm on the wall. Now, this isn't a dead end because we're actually going to use this to glitch through to the end of the level. So, run at this similarly to how you did the bank skip, and then press the zip button, and you should, when done right, if I can do it here, there we go, end up halfway inside the wall. You can see he's kind of halfway inside the words on the wall and the wall itself. Once you're in this position, tap right, so that he spins around very slightly but doesn't actually crawl or move, and then at this point, tap the swing button and you'll zip outside to the other side of the wall. Roll to the left and make sure you're facing left, and then aim just very slightly above where you normally go into when you enter targeting mode, so just move it up very slightly and swing, and that'll swing you back inbounds to here, and then the end of the level is just diagonally opposite you, just over here.
My, said the spider to the smaller spider.
Spidey versus Venom again, or Venom 2 as we tend to refer to him as, is a second Venom boss fight, and it works quite similar to how the first Venom boss fight worked, where he'll turn invisible, reappear, and you have to hit him basically to finish him off, and you do the normal combo that we always have been doing. So, the only difference now is that Mary Jane is here, and she's going to drown if you don't turn off the switches. Realistically, you're only going to have to turn off this first switch in front of you here, and then you can just forget about it. Venom generally won't turn on the other switches unless you get really unlucky with the spawns. Venom spawns in one of 4 places, either over here, or on these 2 raised platforms either side here. Best case scenario, we want him to spawn on this lower section, not on the raised sections, because it's easier to get to him if he's on these lower sections. To do this, let me restart the level. The best way that we've found to manipulate him into spawning either in front of you or across from you is turn off this and then come and stand around here basically. Get on your web gloves, stand here in this corner, and then he should spawn in either in front of you or across from you the majority of the time. Again, it's not guaranteed, and you'll just have to kind of work on the fly to try and beat him if he spawns on the rafters on either side. But for the most part, you want him to either spawn in front of you or behind you. When he spawns across from you like this, you've got one of 2 options. The safest option being fire 2 web balls, and that'll despawn him. Option 2 is to walk about halfway up here and hope that he jumps. And if he does, hit kick punch there. Okay? Now, what you've got to keep in mind here is you can finish him off in 3 cycles if you do either 3 kick punch combos or 2 kick punch combos and 1 web ball combo, that being 2 web balls fired to despawn him. If you end up doing more than 2 web ball combos, or 2 or more web ball combos, you'll finish him off in more than 3 cycles, which isn't optimal, but still, if you just need to get through this level and you want to play it safe, I'd say, because this can be a bit finicky. Again, because of the RNG and where he spawns. So as soon as you've despawned him, Back to the corner. There we go. He's going to spawn over here again. Let's fire 2 web balls to be safe. Don't forget to put your web gloves back on if you do fire web balls. And there we go. And he's spawned in front of us for the last one. And there we go. So that was a classic example of 2 kick-kick-punch combos and 1 web ball combo to finish him off. So again, he won't always be as kind as this. Sometimes he'll be more kind and he'll spawn in front of you all 3 times, and that's brilliant. Sometimes he'll spawn across from you every single time, and sometimes he'll spawn on the rafters either side. If he does that, improvise and try and figure out your own way of sorting it, and just try and get him off and try and get the combo in if you can. This level is going to take a lot of work, and it's a lot of RNG, and you've just got to pray that Venom's going to be nice to you. But once you've done that, Venom will die. Well, he won't die, but that's the end of the level.
Why did you come back?
Okay, we're back to now a lot of skips, and Symbiotes Infest Bugle is no exception. All these next levels are going to involve skips of some form. So, in this level, the most straightforward skip is the one I'm going to show you. There are other examples, again, of skips that you can do on this level, but I'm just going to show you this one. And again, if you want to see more or learn more or speak to any of us, please come drop in the Discord and say hello and let us help you, because we're all open to helping new runners. So this method involves you squeezing yourself in between the wall and a filing cabinet to get underground and out of bounds, essentially. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you now. So for this cutscene, just because this symbiote can be a bit awkward because he will chase you, and if he starts hitting you with his ranged attack, it will ruin the setup for this trick. So when this level starts, if I restart this level again, you can skip the cutscene almost instantly, but you want to kind of wait until the symbiotes run away a little bit, just so then he doesn't chase you as quickly, at least. Anyway, you want to swing over to this wall, zip over to this wall here, as close to the wall as you can, turn around, and now what we're going to do is aim in the middle of the filing cabinet and the wall on the floor, okay? So look, if we aim here, this will put us out of bounds. We're going to swing underneath and zip up, okay? That was very quick. I appreciate that was very quick. So let me do that again, and I'll be a bit slower on the explanation. Now you've seen it, let me explain what I'm doing. Okay. So, wait for the symbiote to run away, over to here, turn around to this wall, turn around. Right. As soon as you hit this, press down and right on your D-pad, and then swing. You want to do a swing cancel, and that should get you underneath here. So that's down and right. As soon as you hit that zip, down and right, to be facing in the right direction, and at that point you want to swing, cancel, and swing, and then use, if you need to, the zip upwards to save yourself and get yourself here. And you'll notice now that a lot of the level is just despawned. To finish this level off, you're going to want to swing over to this side, pick up this web cartridge, of course, and you want to jump here. The trigger for this end of level is a bit tricky sometimes to hit. I've seen a lot of people miss it accidentally. You want to jump basically just to the left of this door that you can see here. So just here. And that's the end of the level. Elevator descent is another one that involves a skip, but it's a bit unusual from the ones that we've been doing so far. So let me explain the setup to this one. So what you need to do is, or what we're going to do, is we're going to clip to the other side, out of bounds of this elevator shaft here. Doing so will allow us to fall down either to the bottom floor or to the floor above and jump to the loading zone, essentially. Or if you want to be safe, like I say, you can fall down to the bottom floor and then just walk out, essentially. But it's faster if you do the jumping strategy. I'll show you both. Anyway, so method one, the safe method of falling just straight to the bottom floor, is you want to fall and land here, just next to this light, okay? At this point, you want to aim at the back wall, and as soon as it turns green, press and hold the swing button, and you need to make sure you keep it held down for the entirety of the zip until he gets out of bounds. What should happen is if you keep it held down, Spider-Man should flip to the other side of this wall and fall out of bounds all the way down to the bottom floor, okay?
I'm fresh out of both. I guess I'll have
just like that. We're out of bounds, we fall, and the bottom floor is 4 down, okay? 4 down, you fall down, you hit the button, and you're at the end of the level. Method 2, the faster way of doing this that involves you jumping into the loading zone, is as follows. You want to go to the back wall instead and land roughly just above the purple line here in the elevator shaft that extends all the way along. You can see there. Same again. Press and hold. That should get you out of bounds, and you want to fall 3 floors until you land on this floor here. From here, you want to kind of line yourself up. You can see there's the big kind of hole. You want to line yourself up just to the right of that. Tap jump and push forward. And you jump straight into the loading zone there. That will take a bit of practice just to get that line up proper, but that is faster than falling all the way to the bottom and hitting the button and walking into the loading zone. Stop the presses can be done with 2 different methods also. One is easy, one is much harder. You want to skip this cutscene as soon as it lets you skip it, and we'll demonstrate the easy method first. So, you want to destroy this generator with a web ball, skip your way all the way over to here, aim, and destroy that, and zip over to here so you can try and zip through almost immediately as the door opens. Zip yourself along to the far end of this room and into this room. When your spider sense goes off, that means this gate's closed. You want to watch out for this rolling thing because that can kill you. Once your spider sense goes off and this closes, what you need to do, again, very similar to the bank, is run to this corner, zip, and it should zip you outside, and let yourself fall into that little vent there, essentially. You don't want to press any buttons once you zip. Once you zip, let yourself fall. You will fall automatically. You don't need to press any buttons. All you need to do is just push forward and right slightly to make sure you fall into the square vent, okay? Method 2, I would recommend not using this until you're much more experienced, but I will show you it anyway. You want to turn around immediately here at the start of the level, and if you jump diagonally into this corner, you can kind of phase yourself halfway in, and if you run up it, then diagonally, Spider-Man will click to the wall properly and start crawling up. As soon as you start crawling up without any obstructions and he's not getting stuck, the moment you drop now, he will fall through the floor. So what you need to do is, similar to Symbiotes, Infest, Bugle, as soon as you press X now to fall, press down and right on your D-pad so that you're facing the right direction, and then swing. And what you'll need to do is do a bit of clever swinging and zip cancelling and all sorts of stuff to get yourself into position for this level to then despawn. So let me show you now. So fall, swing over here, zip cancel, zip cancel, zip cancel, until you want to land basically beyond where this big roll of paper is, essentially. And that'll mean that you've despawned this level, okay? Now, from here, what you can do is swing to an invisible landing point, essentially, which is just kind of diagonally to the right now of where we are. And from there, you can then swing straight to the vent that ends the level. So let me show you. So you want to jump and kind of over here swing, and Spider-Man should find it automatically. And then you can swing all the way to the end. Very hard to pull off, but quite a cool trick if you can do it. Bugle's basement perhaps has one of the hardest skips in the game to do. But this one is pretty necessary if you want to do a very good run, okay? So, I'll explain it when we get to it, but essentially, to start with, you want to jump over here, destroy this generator, and then swing, and stop yourself just before you get through this fire cavern thing here, okay? So, the essence of the trick that we're about to do is we're going to walk forward, but then as soon as our spider sense goes off, this gate is going to close. That we're just about to go through here, this gate that'll block then the fire cavern. We're gonna, as soon as our spider sense goes off, turn around and zip through, back through to this area where we are now, before the door can close, which will despawn the level and allow us to skip 90% of this level, okay? So I'll demonstrate how the best way and the best setup to do that now. So, you want to be on this far left-hand side here so that you can jump diagonally across and be kind of running into this wall here. So as you run forward, Spider-Man will kind of be pushed to the left, which is where you want to go. The trigger for this level then to close the gate and the spider sense to activate and then close the gate, which is your visual cue for this trick. As soon as you reach, you see the shaded part of this wall on your left, where it looks like if it was 3D, there'd be an actual like bit of wall sticking out there. That is, boom, you can see there, the trigger. But when the spider sense will go off, the door will close, so that's when you know you need to immediately press down on your D-pad or down on your analog stick to turn it all the way around, and then press the zip button to zip back to the opposite wall, and then you want to try and see if you can jump back into this area or walk back onto this bit, because everything else behind you despawns, but this platform doesn't, which will give you time then to set up this next part of the trick. So let me demonstrate that again. So, line yourself up, jump over, and as soon as your spider sense goes off, turn around and zip back through, okay? That will take a lot of practice, and don't expect to hit that straight away unless you're really good, and if you hit that straight away, maybe I owe you some money or something. That one's good to practice though, because this one's a very key skip in the game. Okay, next up what we're going to do is we're going to jump around the left-hand side here and swing to the end of this corridor with a few zip cancels as well underneath to keep the level despawned. Okay, that's important. We need to keep the rest of the level despawned so that we can jump now straight to the end of the level. So let me demonstrate how to do that. From here, you want to jump, like I say, around and to the left, swing to the end of the corridor, drop just before you land inside, and swing cancel until you pass this kind of bit of wall here where the corridor gets a bit thinner. This will make sure, like you see, that the rest of the level stays despawned, and what you can do from here is swing across to here, and then we need to jump around this door. But beware that this wall does exist, okay, and that wall for some reason does stay. So if you're here, you need to make sure that you don't jump into this wall. You want to jump around the wall like so, and then run into the end of level trigger just there. For Spidey versus Mysterio, we're about to fight Mysterio, by the way. Boss fight incoming. The method that I use for this one, I'll show you. There are other methods that you can use for this boss fight. I'll just show you mine because I think it's easier, and I do think if you can do this very quickly, it's faster than other people's methods as well. If you want to see other people's methods, go watch their runs on speedrun.com, and you can have a see of other people, because other people can do some like jumping up and down between platforms to try and do this faster. This is my preferred way, and I think in theory could be the fastest way as long as you're fast at targeting mode. It all comes down to targeting mode essentially. So what you want to do is skip the cutscene, and Spider-Man will jump all the way up here. Don't be spamming X once the cutscene finishes, otherwise Spider-Man, I'll show you actually. You want to skip the cutscene here. Stop spamming X now, because if you keep spamming X, Spider-Man will miss this first jump, and he'll land on the second level as opposed to the top level, okay? So for this trick, don't spam X after the cutscene. Okay, so spam X, skip the cutscene, then stop. Let Spider-Man get to the top. And at this point, as soon as you gain control of Spider-Man, you want to turn around and walk and stand so that one foot is just slightly off the ledge here. So can you see here how I've got one foot very slightly off the ledge? What this will mean is that, as you can see, Mysterio's trying to go for this grab move, which normally would pick you up and throw you all the way down to the bottom level. But if you stood here, he can't ever grab you and can't ever get you. The only thing you have to be careful of are those rolling things, but this shouldn't be a big deal at all. From here, it's web balls to finish him off. So web ball these top two. Once the top two are gone, targeting mode, and just aim at the others. There you go. Aim at them all, and web balls to finish them off. Once you finish this off, we're going to phase 2. Phase 2, basically, you want to just keep spamming web balls, so keep up and triangle held down. You want to start doing that when his arms start lowering. So you can see now he's about to raise his arms. As soon as his arms start lowering, that's when you want to start holding down triangle and up, because that's when it'll start actually locking on to the points it needs to. So we'll see, watch. As soon as his arms start lowering, there. Just keep it held down, we're not moving at all. And one more to finish him off there. So Mysterio's a really easy boss fight. It's really, really straightforward.
You're thinking.
Okay, congratulations. You have made it to Waterfront Warehouse, and this is the last skip / out of bounds of the game now, but it is a very important one. So once again, we're spamming X here to skip all these cutscenes, and as soon as we get control of Spider-Man, this is where it's go time, okay? From here, what we're going to do is, you can see in front of us, there's some barrels of fire, or whatever. I don't actually know what's supposed to be inside them. When you throw them at people, it blows up. What we're going to do is get out of bounds in between the furthest right one here, just in front of us, and the wall. So what we need to do is we need to swing over to that area, and you can use targeting mode to aim in between to get to here, okay? And you've wedged yourself in between. Now what you want to do is push forward and kind of spam the your zipping and X. You want to keep spamming that until eventually you should clip through the box here and end up kind of one leg floating in midair and one inside. From here you want to be careful because you don't want to fall out of bounds. You want to jump around the box and stay on this path here because now you're out of bounds and inside the boxes. Okay, this is where it gets important. From here we're going to jump essentially into the loading trigger, which is quite a jump and requires a bit of precision, but I believe in you guys. I know you can do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? So, what we need to do is, you want to run straight forward here, make sure you run all the way to the edge, but what you need to be making sure of is that Spider-Man is lined up to just the right of these fans you can see in front of you in No Man's Land. You're going to count to 5, okay? You're going to count 5 fans, and when you jump, basically, first of all, let's get this right. You're going to jump first of all and keep pushing forward. Do not let go of forward no matter what until you count to 5 fans and the 5th fan hits the top of your screen. Let me demonstrate. Jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fans. Hit the screen. Stop. And that's the end of level trigger. Okay? Let me demonstrate that again. You're running forward. Jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop pushing forward when it hits the top of your screen. And you've hit the end of level trigger, and that level is done as quick as that. Underwater Trench is another level with just a lot of swinging, which is fine. It's a nice break from all the skips and out of bounds that we've been doing. Now, this is where web cartridges get important because you're going to need a lot of web cartridges, at least 5 full web cartridges for the Carnage fight that's coming up. Spoiler, you're about to fight Carnage in a little bit, okay? If you have, at this point in the game, 2, maybe 3 web cartridges, 3 is probably okay. If you have 2 or less, what I would recommend is take a quick detour and pick up this web cartridge that's just over here, just to stock up on 1 extra, okay? If you have 3 or more web cartridges, you're totally fine, and you can just carry on. Skip this cutscene, and you're basically just swinging to the end of this level, okay? But to swing just as much as you can, try and get across this as fast as you can. Jump where possible if you can't swing. Now, on the second area here, whenever it starts going uphill, you can actually do those web zips uphill, okay? That only works on the second and third areas, essentially. You can do that. And again, you can do the same on this bit. Do zips. Get across a bit faster. And then downhill, you just swing. Watch out for the lasers if you can. And you can do zipping then along this. Again, another web cartridge to pick up there to the end of the level. Stopping the fog is more button pressing and more swinging. So I'll show you what this looks like now. So skip this cutscene. First of all, swing to the green highlighted door just over here. Security control. Skip this cutscene straight away, and as soon as you've skipped it, you can press triangle, and it should hit the button to unlock the other doors. You can then, you've got a choice essentially. You can either go clockwise or anti-clockwise around here to go to all the control rooms and press the buttons. It's totally up to you. I'm going to go this way. You want to swing, get to the doors. The first one will play a cutscene. Again, just skip that as fast as you can and press the web button to hit the trigger. And then again, keep carrying on whichever direction you've committed to. The last 2 doors don't play a cutscene when you open them. You just want to web them as soon as the door opens. And skip the cutscenes again that play after. And that's it. It's a very simple level. The only thing to keep in mind is this cutscene that plays now is unskippable. So you've got to watch this and just take a moment and take a breath before you carry on now to the final 3 levels of the game. We've got Dr. Octopus, we've got Carnage, and then the scariest character ever created for video games, Monster-Ock. Very scary. Okay, so Dr. Octopus can be done in 1 cycle. That's important. That's the first important thing I should mention. 1 cycle Dr. Octopus is the optimal way to do this. It's a bit tricky and may take some practice once again, as everything does though. It's just practice, guys, and once you get it, once you've nailed it, you'll be flying. Okay, so the technique and trick we can use on Dr. Octopus here to get 1 cycle. First of all, the way that we can we're able to attack him is first we've got to drop all of these shields. So these buttons will fall from the sky. It's random as to which order they'll drop in. And you just need to press them basically as soon as they start falling. You can press them before they hit the floor, which I'll demonstrate in a second. In terms of where you want to stand, I wouldn't say you want to be running all over the place constantly trying to dodge Dr. Octopus's attacks. You can stand in between two buttons. So you can see I'm in between here two of these pillars. You can see just above, like slightly to the left, top left and top right are these two big like blocky things. That's where the buttons are that will fall down. If you stand in between two of them, if either one falls, you just have to hit your web button, your triangle, and it'll hit either side, just because of how Spider-Man does. So if we stand here, you can see there, look, as soon as it fell, we didn't even have to wait for it to properly all the way fall. It just dropped. You can stand in between the next two and hope that it does that. Yep, there we go. We'll hope now it's this one on the left. If not, we'll just have to jump over to the right and hit that button. It was this one. Brilliant. We hit that. Now, this is where it gets tricky, okay? This is where the one cycle comes in. So, when this last button drops, in order to be able to hit a one cycle, you don't want to press the button when two things are happening. Either you don't want to press the button if Dr. Octopus is mid-attack animation or is about to perform an attack animation. You also don't want to press the button if he does this laugh animation that he does after an attack. Often that's if he hits you. Sometimes he doesn't have to hit you to do the laugh animation straight after an attack animation. I'll try and see if we can show you in this example here. We'll just see. So with all that in mind, let's give it a go. So stand in a position so that you can hit the last button when it falls. Wait for Dr. Octopus to do an attack. Hit the button, web gloves on immediately, jump and dive at him, and it's kick, kick, punch, and then insta-web dome. And that's one cycle, okay? So that was very fast. I appreciate that was very fast when I did that. But just go back and watch that if you want. I'll demonstrate it again for you, and I'll try and talk it through again now that you've seen it at least once. This is one to just go back and practice. And again, a good thing that for emulator, you have the save states. Just constantly be practicing this last button and the timing of it. So again, let's go again. We want to wait till he attacks. Make sure he's not going to laugh. Press the... Oh, hold on. Let's wait again now. If you miss the button, press the button. Web gloves on. Jump, dive, kick. Kick, kick, punch. Straight into another kick, kick, punch. And then as soon as that animation's done, make sure you press all three buttons to do the insta-web dome, and that'll kill him. And that's one cycle Dr. Octopus. If you do fail the one cycle, you just have to do it again where you press all the buttons and wait for the shield to drop. At that point, you don't need to do a kick, kick, punch combo. You can do, but you can also just spam him with web balls. That works too. Spidey versus Carnage is fairly straightforward. Nothing too tricky about it. The tricky bit comes from, if I just pause this as soon as the level starts, the tricky bit comes from making sure that you get this set up right for it. So, if we go into here, so there we go, you can see the level now actually. The big bubble that's in the center of this level is where we want to try and get Carnage into. And to do that, what we need to do is, as soon as the level starts and we get control, jump, dive, kick, grab him, spin around and try and throw him inside. So there you go, we can see we just about got him inside the edge there. Obviously it'd be more ideal if we got him slightly deeper inside just to be safer. But if he's inside, he takes damage, massive damage inside of this bubble. And now we want to keep him there, locked in this bubble. To do that, if you've got enough web cartridges, what you want to do is get yourself into a position so that you're lined up and you and Carnage are lined up so that when you web ball him now, if you just keep constant web balling him, he's going to just be pushed into one of these machinery bits for the bubble that are in here. So if I start web balling him now, you can see he just sits there, doesn't get pushed out of the bubble, and he's stuck there. And on easy, he does also take damage from web balls, which is also just extra damage. So you can see we're shredding him here, and all we have to do is keep him in this position. If you come to this level without enough web cartridges, or you notice that your web cartridges are getting pretty low, and you're like, oh no, I'm going to run out of web cartridges to do web balls, don't panic. What you can just do is just keep tapping triangle. And you'll be able to do that regardless of how many web cartridges you have. Even if you're totally empty and it looks like it's about to empty, you can just keep pressing this. This is obviously slower because you're not dealing the extra damage that the web balls deal, but that keeps him locked in place, and that's the most important part. Whew. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Congratulations, you've made it to the final level of the game. I am very proud of you all, and I'm sure you should be proud of yourselves too for all the things that you've managed to do. Or even if you just watched this casually and you think, that was pretty good, thank you for making it to the end of the video. Now, there's no fighting involved with this one. It's very nice because it's just a lot of swinging to the end. Now, you don't want Monster-Ock to catch up to you. This level is really good for practice, actually. If you want to practice this level, gosh, like I clearly need to, because I'm sticking to walls, to practice your movement, because movement's very good in this. So you want to just use a combination of swings and zips. This is a very poor example, because I'm all over the place here. And when the spider sense goes off, that's the signal, basically, to do a web zip upwards to be able to get to the next floor, the next level, okay? You want to just carry on. This, again, will come naturally to you the more you do it. You'll get used to the layout of this maze. So we're just going to keep going, and I guess we'll kind of wrap up the guide here. So appreciate you all if you've made it this far into the video. In the description will be links to the Discord, will be links to the speedrun.com page. Everything you can need, I'd say, is most importantly really in the Discord. If you want to speak to any of us runners, if you want to run this game yourself and you just want a hand, or if you're just going to run this game and you don't want anyone to speak to you, that's fine too, but join the Discord because we're a friendly bunch and it's all good and we'll help you wherever we can. We're all very friendly and all very excited for anyone new who wants to run this game, so please do come and join us. Shout out to all the Spider-Man runners who have run this game and taught me to run this game. I wouldn't be here without them. Shout out specifically to like Willy Fetty, Sotalia, and I guess Burke as well, and Matt. There's loads of other people, Nilo, Ink as well. Ink was the original tutorial that I watched to get to this point and learn this game, but we don't have a PlayStation specific tutorial, which is why this was made. So shout out to all those guys. Shout out to Monch for the auto splitter, of course. Felicia. There's so many people, and I've probably skipped over a few people, and I apologise for anyone that I have skipped. Jesse and Chuck, who are new runners to this game as of the creation of this video. Yeah, shout out to all them. And that's the level, guys. That's the game. You've just speedrun Spider-Man. Well done. Okay. Again, any questions, please do come and drop by the Discord, which is in the description. Come speak to us. Let us help you out. Let us get you running this game, because what a game this is. I'm sure you'll agree, having watched the speedrun now, what a sick game this is. So, again, thank you all for watching. Shout out to all my Spider homies in the Spider Discord, and we'll see you soon.